What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome to episode 19 of Sunday Morning Conversation, where we talk to business owners and content creators in the trading card space. If you want to be on a future episode of Sunday Morning Conversation, feel free to email me in the description below or on Instagram. Today we have a wonderful guest, a new friend of the channel, someone I've been watching and admiring in the last couple months or so since he started creating content. I came for the content. I stayed for the hat. My friend Jay with the Cardboard Baron. Dude, how are we doing, man?
Doing well, and hope all your viewers out there are doing the same.
Yeah. So before we get started, I can't match you, but I got this gift the other day. I can't wear it over my headphones, but Bulk Jesus. Actually, we might be able to. Let's see if we can do this. Can we do that? Yeah, that works. Yeah, we gotta get dapper with the dapper fella here. So we actually, one of our like big bulk buyers in the area, I gave him the nickname because he buys like millions of cards. So then he got all these hats printed out and gave me one. So it's pretty funny. Awesome. Anyway, before we get started, and I messed with my health thing here, why don't you give you a little introduction to who you are, where people can find you, and what you're all about?
Yeah, so my name's Jay, going by the Cardboard Baron, of course. Been in the TCG space for about a year and a half, selling, that is.
Yeah.
Primarily on Tcgplayer. Tried my hand at eBay, mainly for sealed product that wasn't listable on Tcgplayer. And then I'm currently working on my own website, cardboardbaron.com, which I hope to have up in the next week or so.
Wow. So
also YouTube channel, obviously.
Yeah. You're cranking on YouTube. You're what, almost at 400, 300, 405?
Yeah, I think we just hit 305.
Nice.
I checked this morning. So yeah, it's a slow, steady grind, and I'm enjoying the process. Just honestly, I started the channel as a way to keep me engaged with the hobby, because around the holidays, I just kind of started getting burnt out. I'm like, do I really want to do this? I'm like, you know what? Let me just create a channel, document it, and I don't know. And like I said in one of your comments, I think it was your video where you showed your apartment and your rack, and I'm like, okay, I can do that content. Just talk to a camera. Don't have to do any fancy editing. Not dissing on your content.
Yeah, no. It's
a lot of people just talk to the camera and walk around, show their cardboard, and I'm like, yeah, that's the content I'll do.
Yeah, and there's always room for improvement. I mean, I'm trying to learn little things here and there. I use DaVinci Resolve as my main thing, but there's always room to grow, room to learn. You said you have a website that you've been starting. How long have you been selling cards, and what made you decide to get on doing a website? I would say arguably sooner rather than some would when they're first starting to sell.
Okay, so yeah, I've been selling for about like a year and a half. Let's say March of 25, and shortly after, I would say probably July, I just registered a Shopify store, and mainly just so I could get the Cardboard Baron like website locked up. Sure. And start like a trademark, and like register with the state to doing business as, and yeah, just to have the email, and that's basically my primary mode of communicating. I haven't sold anything on the site yet because I haven't really focused on it. And being a software engineer by trade, I was like, okay, let's look into the different platforms, and looks like Shopify is the most like extensible if you know what you're doing. So I was like, all right, when I actually sit down and do it, I'll be able to build a site out the way I want.
Your Shopify sounds a lot like my gaming channel. For the last 7 months, I've been saying how I'm going to be posting on a gaming channel. Have yet to do it, but I mean, we'll get there. So you said you've been selling cards for a year and a half. How long have you been playing for? Longer than that? Like, have you been like me? Because I started playing, God, when I was in high school. I think Urza's Legacy was the first pack I ever opened. How long have you been playing before you decided to even think about selling?
So yeah. I remember 5th grade in '94 is when we started with Magic. And when I say start with Magic, my friend brought some to class. I thought they were the coolest cards in the world. So my stepfather took me to a comic book store. We bought a starter deck and a couple booster packs. It was 4th edition. and Ice Age. So
Mm.
that was my play in Magic, and I think we last packs I ever remember getting were Tempest, and then middle school and then high school happened. So obviously I discovered girls in high school, so I didn't really play during high school. After the Marine Corps, though, I tried to get back into Magic around like the 2010 era, and I played Standard for like maybe a year, and then I kind of gave it up. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, 2005 or not 2025. I was playing Warhammer at the LGS I play at, and I saw some guys playing a card game, and I just went over there, and it was Star Wars. So I was
Okay.
like, oh, I was really intrigued by the gameplay and being a huge Star Wars nerd. I just got it. I picked up a couple of their versions of collector boxes. It was the first set they did it. Um, Picked up like 6 boxes, cracked them, built a deck, and then I'm like, hey, I wonder what these things are worth on, And then I looked on Tcgplayer. My friend recommended it, Tcgplayer to me. I sold a couple cards, and then I was addicted. I was like, what? Like, this is fun. I like doing this. And then I guess it's like some of us in the hobby or the solo space, we have like that personality that once we're hooked on something, we just devote ourselves entirely.
Oh yeah.
And so now it's consumed my life. So
Yeah, it's funny because I mean I've talked about some of my addictions in this the same way, and some of my pitfalls in doing this is because I love sorting and I love this, that, the other, and I get so honed in on it that it's hard for me to go do anything else. So in the year and a half that you've been selling cars now, what are some of the things that you've had trouble maybe focusing on, or as a smaller seller? I mean, I'm a smaller seller too, so I'm not trying to say that you're smaller than me or anything,
oh
but
yeah, no,
as a
no.
smaller seller in general, what are some of the things that you've had to really kind of hone in on that might benefit some others, and kind of setting up their day for success in a better way, knowing that there's so many different aspects of how to sell and how to list and do this together? What are some things that you've had to work on for yourself just to kind of get things moving in the right direction?
So I would say my biggest pitfall, and it sounds like we're similar people as far as how we engage with that thing, is trying to do too much too fast,
Yeah.
right? And I've seen like in your Discord, specifically a couple comments about like, hey, this isn't working, or like I'm not getting results here. Can I go to this X platform? And my suggestion would be to master one thing first. When I say mastered, like get comfortable enough by hand without automation. You don't need a 8170. You don't need part uploader right out the gate. Just do it by hand for about a month on one thing, get that going, and then start slowly progressing. When I jumped into it, man, like I said, Tcgplayer within like 2 months, I'm like, oh, I'll get a website up, like, and just trying to do too much. Um, and I guess like that's why I'm in so many card games. Like I sell a lot of indie TCGs. So if you're not like super, I guess, passionate about like the TCG space, like playing it, and more focused on the selling it, focus on one thing and then expand as necessary.
Yeah, I remember in the last couple of days from the last one, the last videos I made, where I was kind of going on about those feelings I was having and some of the messages that you were saying. It reminded me of this old like Gordon Ramsay interview he had, where he was like, the first year cooked, he basically just sat in a room and cut onions all day. And it's like, until you can master like just cutting a simple onion, you have no business being in the kitchen. You have no business doing anything. And we all suffer from it. I mean, I suffer from it. Jay said he suffers from it. So anyone out there who's getting ready to start, you're never going to not experience those feelings of like, I want to like feeling like you get to catch up and do everything. But ultimately, finding a community where you can kind of get your feelings out there and have people just kind of hone you in and get you focused is going to be, it's going to be fruitful for you. When you say indie TCG games, that's something that piques my interest, because I've got a lot of friends who have been getting into the Pal World train and Cookie Run, and in my head, I'm thinking, okay, this is just the pandemic all over again with all these different things coming out with card games that are going to be gone in like 6 months time. What are some of the games that you've been kind of honing in on, focusing on and giving a shot? And is that something that you would recommend for a newer seller, or would you tell them to just kind of focus in on one of the big two or three?
Um, so it's down to your risk tolerance and what advantages you have, right? Like Ivan from Slab Hobby, he's been on your show before. He just put a video out talking about like certain advantages and disadvantages. Me having a full-time job outside of this that makes decent money, I can put some money into these these indie TCGs, and if I lose my ass on it, not a big deal, right? So if you're in a similar situation or you have some money to spare, I would look into the big ones. Would be Sorcery, obviously. Sorcery is my number 2 seller on my main
Oh wow,
TCG. Digital Sanity is that's what the LLC is created as, and then
Digital
I do
Sanity,
business under.
love it.
Yeah, obviously software engineer minds. But yeah, so Sorcery is probably the safest one, and it's the one that's growing. But outside of that, Shardbugs, I'm in. I've on my videos, I've plugged My Little Pony. It does really well for me locally. I've sold a bunch of boxes on eBay, and when I've vended once now, I'll be vending again here next weekend. And the first time I vended, I went through a master case of stuff. So like, but yeah, that's getting a little too indie, I think. But like, yeah, so Sorcery is probably the safest one. There's insane arbitrage, or at least there was. The product is there. They used to dump it on distro, and distro would just kind of give it away.
Sure.
You talk with it. They're like, distro's like, oh, you buy this X amount of crap product to get your Pokemon, right? And so people would just buy it, sell it on TCG, and the price would plummet. Now the prices are going up. There's still some arbitrage opportunities if you're looking to break it down. One thing you can look into is just buying the high-end singles or buying collections and then selling them, right? It's that indie game has kind of, it is still indie, but I think it's the one that's going to make it, right?
Sure.
Everything like Shardbug's story's still out. Pow World, we'll see if it's just a flash in a pan type thing with the success of the game and the momentum from winning their lawsuit and stuff. We'll see what happens. What's on the radar that's releasing for me though is actually Cataclysm Arcade. I don't know if you've seen that. They were spamming their Kickstarter all over Facebook.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's a TCG where like you can play with one pack, right? So you just crack a pack, and there's like commander format, so people are playing like 4-player with one pack. And so I'm like, that's a cool gimmick, right? Where you can just get a booster box and crack a pack, and then that's it, And then obviously they have constructed stuff like that. But we'll see how it goes.
So with these, sorry, no, I thought you were done. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, and I'll say one TCG that has a lot of hype that I would recommend staying away from. Again, this is not financial
Sure.
advice. Might be a fun game is the Cyberpunk TCG because it is way too hype. It's going to be too much product out there. I don't think there's going to be a big money making opportunity there.
Gotcha. So you heard him say and give specific financial advice to pump all your money into that game and come see him if it doesn't work out. Did I hear that correctly?
I think I have LLC to protect me legally.
Yeah. So when it comes to these indie games, like, when it comes to the market of the singles, is it more like, just kind of your more cutesy things, kind of like with Pokemon, or is there actual metas where, you have solid ways to sell literally everything, whether it's bulk lots and whatnot? Like, what are the dynamics of how to move cards from maybe not as popular games, given that they're probably cheap to buy, since like you said, you get stuck buying a lot of them, or they're not that expensive. But even if they're not that expensive, that doesn't necessarily mean the singles are going to be the easiest to move once you get past the 2 or 3 top hits of a set.
Yeah, so Sorcery again, it's very much like old Magic and Magic Estate. It's a very game piece, right? The value comes from the playability of the card, and as people figure metas out and things evolve, new cards become valuable, right? So
Yeah.
it's very utility based, and a utility based game I think is less prone to hype cycles and market shifts because people still need them to play the game, right? So that's why I say sorcery is very, very good in that aspect. Now, for like My Little Pony, I have sold a couple singles on that, but those are like they're going to be like the gold sign cards, or you think of like your SIRs or special treatments, right? The actual playable cards on that won't sell. So that kind of bulk, like I just give to the kids running around that like, oh, My Little Pony, you know.
Yeah.
But sorcery, I've sold bulk lots locally for each set because there's 3 sets out. But so
Sure.
in the ordinaries or the commons, I would just, you know, $10. Here's all the, you know, commons for this set, you know, and people buy them up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Sorcery, in your experience with sorcery, because I know they only do 1 set a year, right?
Yeah, if that, right?
If that,
Yeah,
has that
because
had any
last
negative
one,
effects, or is it still like?
um, so yes and no, right? The game can get kind of stale, but people kind of want it, right? Because it's like 2 extremes almost, right? You have Magic 7 sets this year for sorcery, 1 every 15-ish months, you know? Like, I think they need to go to maybe 2, like a winter and a summer set.
Sure.
Uh, but it keeps the game healthy to the in the point where like you get to actually experience and figure out the set before you're flooded with new ones, right? Because a new set every month and a half is that's why when I got back into Magic, I think they were doing 4 sets a year, and I was like, even wow, this is too many sets, you know. And now I can't, you know, 7. I definitely that's why standard's dead for Magic.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point, because I remember in my competitive heyday, it was like a set would come out, you'd have your decks that would come out for the first week or two. Within a month and a half, the next set would get spoiled, and literally after like half of a whole block cycle, cards that you would think were garbage are actually like bonkers good. And it only, there's not enough time to really delve into, a meta when you have only 2 months to really kind of get your hands on it and look at things. You had mentioned arbitrage earlier. I would love to know what your opinion is on that, because I would say this is probably what kind of got us kind of linked up a little more, is that we are both fans of the mass unboxing. For those who don't know, Jay is the one who got me on the Marvel beginner boxes, which I actually just did a video as of this recording this yesterday, but the EV on those went up like 10 or $15. And in my comments though, scalper, this, that, the other, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like there's a fine line between arbitrage, scalping, and I forget the third word. Where do you draw the line in between the two, arbitrage and scalping, and why are they different? Because I think there's a big difference between the two.
First off, if you make any money in any space on any hobby, you're a scalper. Right? That's my definition. I'm joking.
Yeah.
uh, I don't. So, right, everyone's different. Scalper. Everyone's definition of scalper is different. I'm by no means am I here to disparage anyone who
Sure.
goes out and waits in line to grab an Ascended Heroes drop at Sam's Club. Uh, I say that because that's exactly what my wife wanted to go do. To go get that Ascended Hero. I'm like, babe, unless we're like out there the night before, we're not going to get it. But I placated her. We woke up, went there 2 hours early, and it was wrapped around. I'm like, babe, and she's like, okay, we'll just go home. But so that's what I think of scalper. Someone who just kind of goes in and their intent is just to grab the box, do very little work, and set it up on eBay, sell it, and make some quick tendies, right? And again, not knocking that if that's how you want to engage with it. But as far as the arbitrage part of your question is, there's money there because people don't want to do that work, right? Like, for the Marvel boxes or Jumpstart, the Foundation's Jumpstart or the Marvel Jumpstart, you have to take 2 packages off, get the good cards, list them, and then package them and sell them, right? And that's why there's money to be found, right? The opportunities and the money is where people don't want to work themselves. Again, not disparaging anyone. I understand they're paying for convenience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where if you're trying to build a business model that's sustainable and are breaking down boxes, it can be sustainable is the route you go, I don't consider you a scalper, you know?
Yeah. No, I would agree because a lot of that is basically how I feel. It's if you have a store and you got a bunch of employees, I mean, it may not be worth it to you to break this to pay employees to do that type of stuff. In my head, it is. I mean, especially since I got my start from watching, Rob with RNG, seeing it work at that scale, that makes me think like when I buy products from other stores, it's like, why are you just not doing this yourself? But
Oh yeah.
also, it's a free country and capitalism wins. And if you want to do whatever you want, that doesn't mean I'm a bad person for taking advantage of that. And it's not my, this might sound mad. It's not my job to make the other person aware. Now, if I have a $10 card at a card show and I'm trying to sell it for $1,000 to a 12-year-old, that's bad. But if you have a product, you put it up for a price, I buy it for that price. That is a contractual thing that you're entering to acquire that product. What other? I mean, you don't have to give us all your gems, but have you had any other luck recently with any other openings? Because typically, when bull markets are around, is usually not the most ideal time to be doing openings because everything is so crazy. But how much has, or let me ask it this way: what percentage of the business have you done has been based around openings, or is it a pretty even sandwich of this, that, and the other?
I would say 80% of my business has been cracking boxes. That's how I get most of my singles. I'll do like private collection buys of say like Riftbound, uh sorcery. I don't really do Pokemon because honestly, I'm not the most knowledgeable, right? On Pokemon. My wife is. Uh I didn't even think about Pokemon until we got into the card. I started selling cards, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to learn Pokemon to an extent. So anything like pre Scarlet Violet, like I
Yeah.
don't really know. Oh, Moonbreon from you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the extent of my far back knowledge. But yeah, so cracking boxes and small collection pickups for again sorcery, like higher end magic cards, stuff like that. So my all of my listed 70,000 cards and like 300,000 backlog that I need to go through is all basically from cracking boxes.
That's what's up. I love hearing that because I think especially when things are crazy now, and it's so hard to I won't say it's so hard, but it gets more competitive to buy collections and buy collections at a decent rate, and it's really, to go back to what you were saying before, it's really what separates the guys who are you know in it for the long haul and not, because you're not going to always have collections that you can buy, and especially when margins are already thin pretty much all the time anyway, you got to figure out a way to do something. So when some people zig, you got to zag, go to the thing that people don't want to do. The great stuff's always going to be there. You might have to spend a little more money for it, but it's I would encourage people to at least give it a shot. And the thing with openings too, and I would wonder what your opinion on this is you don't really have to go crazy, right? The math says the more you buy, the more consistent your if estimated value is. But if you just want to buy a case, or you find a good deal and you can buy some boxes for $80, $85, you can probably get away with just buying 3 or 4 boxes and make your 10, 15%, and then repackage some of the stuff that's not going to move fast in other ways. How do you maybe go about, the less valued stuff? Do you hold on to it? Do you make bulk lots? Like, how do you use every part of this animal to make sure that you're getting as much bang for your buck?
Um. So yeah, I like I said, I have a hundreds of thousands of cards backlog, mostly the like commons and
Yeah.
what are equivalent in many sets. But yeah, like locally player bases, I'll sell commons too. Especially they're good for like learn to play events, especially for like indie TCGs, like sorcery being great. You can build just decks and hand them out, get people in, and I have a vested interest in getting you hooked, right? The first one's free, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you can just give out that extra stuff. But as far as like Magic, if you go look at my main store, it we've listed it like very much like you. We'll list it all. Like I don't care if it's commons, uncommons. I have the space for it right in my house. So the next room where I shoot the videos is just stacked, you know, like that
Yeah. Yeah.
boxes of listed stuff. And I think you've said it before. You've already touched it. Might as well list it, right? So, doesn't sell often all the time at the floor, but you'd be surprised, man. Like, you're like, it's been sitting there for 6 months, and somebody wants 10 of these cards. I don't know what they're doing with them, but hey, that's $2.50 that I wouldn't have made if it wasn't listed. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of been my approach. Is eventually I'm trying to get around to list it all, but having another full-time job, and then thankfully I'm not in grad school right now because of the summer, but when uh in the month when that picks up, I'm gonna have even less time. So we list what we can, and once I get the eBay store running a little bit more, I might start doing custom lots and stuff like that for mainly sorcery and then like magic.
Yeah, that's that's is one of the main reasons why I always went the list everything route, was because, full time job. The amount of time I would spend sifting on my days off, I would get barely list anything listed. So it was advantageous for me to just throw everything on there and then figure it out afterwards, or delist things as I start to audit things. Because that's basically the route that I'm going to go. Is I'm going to start listing everything again. But like as I start to audit like a row a day or 2 rows a day, if I see I have 80 of something, okay, this thing hasn't sold in 2 months, then I'll rip 50 or 60 of them out, throw them in a bulk box or something. But you kind of really just have to, recognize your strengths, recognize the time you have, figure out what's best for you, and move forward. Which brings me to my next question, because anyone who has been following my channel in the recent weeks, I have had some self-admitted identity crisis with the way I've done things, the way I'm doing things now. The more and more I get into the content world and watching all the content from all the people that I love, it really starts to make you kind of second guess how you are, the fabric of what you created, and it's not a good road to go down. There are ways to take information and incorporate it into what you do, but ultimately it's really important to stay true, stay true to who you are. And I'm slowly kind of getting back to me. Do you have any struggles with that in the year and a half that you've been selling cards? Do you have anything that you like, grass is greener? You're always looking maybe someone that is doing something better than you. And how do you kind of stay focused on what you are when there's literally just, millions of ways to do things and people always telling you to do things different ways?
Good question. I mean, we all compare ourselves to other people, right? Like everyone does that, whether or not you're conscious of it or not. I don't really get affected too much. Like I'll compare some like myself to someone, realizing that they're doing something better than me or maybe more progressed than me, and it's inspiring to me, And then the looking down, not looking down, but like looking at people coming up, I see where they're at, and I get excited for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm very much in the space where I want everyone to succeed, and I just like seeing snapshots of everyone's journey, right? And then I compare, to newer sellers. I compare myself to that, and I glean lessons from that. Like, oh, cool, this is how far I've come. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't really have an identity crisis per se. I do compare myself to others in the fact of like grabbing inspiration, seeing where I want to go, or even where I don't want to go. Like it might be successful for them, but I know my strengths enough to like, that's awesome. It's not that I don't want to try what they're doing. I just know that's just not going to be. I don't have the wheelhouse for that. You know what I mean? Like chaos sort. Can't do it. I would have a
Yeah.
meltdown, but I'm glad it works for a lot of other people. You know what I mean?
Alpha sort for life, baby. I
Yeah,
don't.
I'll die on that hill.
My idea of the chaos sort is just throwing a bunch of cards in a room on the floor and just like, you want $10? Just go in that room, just pick some cards up on the ground. You got, what are those old, remember those old like money tubes? You just go in there and you just have like, just maybe that'd be a good thing for a store. Like, hey, you want to wear some goggles so you don't get your eyes gouged out by the corner of a Topps Pokemon card, and then everything's fine. So you had mentioned that you vented for the first time a couple weeks ago. How'd that go?
Yeah. It went well. It's a very small show at one of the LGSs I work at. I mean, not I work with. And they do like a half day vend. It's like a $30 a table, and people mainly go in there for Pokemon, right? That's the big boom. And I'm the indie TCG guy. Like, I have the sorcery, I have the My Little Ponies, you know, and people know me locally for it. I have the Riftbound, and so it went really cool. Obviously, I used that time to get out of my ascended position, my sealed position. So uh, I did sell a little bit of Pokemon, but yeah, I liked it. The wife came and she liked it. She was manning the singles and all the good stuff, and it was just cool getting to experience that. And so now I'm gonna do it once a month.
That's
Just
nice.
another
Yeah.
facet to engage with the hobby.
There's a few, Orlando is about 30 minutes away from me, and there's a lot of bigger stores. Well, not huge, but they're bigger than the local mom and pop shops. And there's a lot of people that are starting to do that where, some of them are like pretty big malls. So they'll have like a section of the walkway of the mall cut out, and they'll have like a little small impromptu. It's basically a trade night, but you can pay, like you said, like 20, 30 bucks for a table and just kind of have like a little tiny little show, which is, for anyone who's never vended, that's probably the best way to get into it. I wouldn't really recommend just like trying to get into a collecticon right away. That's like, probably not the best way to go about it.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
wouldn't.
is that your goal for vending? Are you trying to get into those bigger shows, or is it just more of an avenue to just kind of talk to people, get things slowly going?
No, I mean, I don't want to say never, right? Because you never know where life takes you. I never thought I'd get into selling TCGs as a side hustle, and probably one day make it my full time job. But I don't really want to. It doesn't really excite me as like it almost seems like the big conventions are spectacles and more showy, and I'd really like to be like hands on in the weeds at the local level. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I like the local feel, and also just getting your name out locally. And since then, I've had people like, hey, you want to buy my Riftbound bulk, you want to buy my Pokemon bulk, and I'm like, that's why I did it, so I can get more inventory in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Of the two shows that I did, the second one I made, I wish I had one, but I made these like foldable pamphlets that was basically just like a dinner menu of just like, hey, here's all my this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. And the second day of the second show I did, it was just nothing but people trading in their bulk to me for my singles, which was fantastic. I think I ended up walking away with like 90,000 cards or something crazy.
Oh my
But
god.
you just never know, when you're going to shows like that, what's going to happen. Not only that, but the connections. I mean, I think
Yeah.
2 or 3 of the sources I have now for bulk are other vendors that, I mean, they either run massive or, you know, successful rip and ships. They have nowhere to put their bulk.
Mhm.
One of the things I've noticed in a lot of comments recently is that, I'm having trouble finding bulk. Bulk's nowhere to be found. People are trying to, get, $500 for 100 cards. What are I know you said you mostly do openings, but when it comes to bulk, have you gone out and tried to get more into bulk buying? What is your strategy when it comes to acquiring bulk, in general, and how do you piece it out?
So, um, mainly word of mouth is how I've gotten into it, and then luckily, again, everyone's situation is different.
Yeah.
In my videos, I preach like relationships, like go out there, network. Life's a network, whether it's this, your other professional career, your social life, whatever. It's all about making connections with people. And very early on, about maybe 6 months into selling TCGs, I made a great connection with this local LGS, and I get their bulk. I buy their bulk. They accept bulk for trade. They put a little premium on it, and then I take it from them. You know what I mean? And they take in a lot, and they supply even the big guys. We
Sure.
live in the St. Louis area here, and we have like the collector store and Forge and Fire, everyone's favorite thing. Big warehouse. I don't know if you've ever seen the Forge and Fire on like Google Maps, or it's
Oh
literally a
yeah.
warehouse. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild. But anyways, yeah. So this LGS supplies them with bulk because they have a huge bulk operation, and I like just chisel off a little piece that I can handle. Again, it's in the backlog. But yeah, it's out there, right? Like Facebook Marketplace is there. And I wouldn't go like looking for people posting that they're selling bulk. Just go in there, make a post about what your rates are, how to contact you, and just let it sit, right? And maybe in the beginning you're only going to get like a call or two, but as you make these connections with people, they won't even they know to go to you, and
Yep.
they'll hit you up like, hey, I got like 20,000 cars. What do you want them? And you just say yeah. You know what I mean? And then Phantom did a video months ago talking about like, well, how do we get so much bulk? He's like, because I say yes, regardless if it's sifted, whatever. He just says yes. He buys the
Yeah.
bulk, sees what's there, moves it on. And he's the bulk king. You're the bulk king. You guys do bulk way better than I could ever do it, and that's how I would do it, right? Like, you guys are the inspiration I took when dealing with bulk. Like, okay, this is how they do it. Just emulate it, right? So if you can't find it, I would say you're not looking hard enough.
Yeah. I'm not looking hard enough, like I said, being a little picky, because when a lot of the complaints I'll get is like, what, I bought some bulk and there was just a bunch of energies or a bunch of lands, and it's like, it's going to happen, man. It is it just comes with the territory. But I mean, if you've been selling bulk for a amount of time, even if you buy 1,000 cards and 200 of them are lands for some reason, which usually never happens, you're going to double or triple up on those 800 cards anyway. So it's like, it is what it is. And then there you can get into making lots. I mean, you can always make land lots and energy lots. I mean, there's just different ways to go about it. How has your content journey been so far? I know you said you haven't even been doing it for a year yet, right?
No,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
End of January, maybe February.
So
And like I said,
what made you like get started? Because I know a lot of people are like really nervous when they first start, of like, what are people going to think? What are going to people say? Da 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 da. And that's like the big band-aid you got to rip off before you start.
okay, so yeah, like I said earlier, I wouldn't say I was getting burnt out to the point where I was gonna like quit selling product or selling cards. I just felt like directionless, and I thought, hey, maybe if I make content, I can then engage with other people and write a more linear path forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I because like at first, like I suffered from like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and you can't do it, right? Like the one, I mean, you could do it if you had time, and we don't have a limitless amount of time. So I started content, not so much. I know, I mean, it'd be cool to get monetized one day and get some income off that, but my purpose was truly just to document something that I can go back to and see progression and just glean information from, and just get ideas and inspiration, I guess, from myself. I don't know if that seems like conceited or whatever, but yeah, just hold myself accountable, really.
Did you record the your vending? Like, are you going to start doing doing a little like mini POVs when you go do your monthly show or weekly show or whatever?
That's a good idea. I saw a good friend of mine, Cole. He does that locally, and I'm like, that's a really good idea, right? And then I'm like, so what made you start doing that? I was like, well, normally, originally I set the camera up so to catch people, stealing, but then it worked out on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man, maybe I'll do that next time, next week. Baron POV. It'll be me selling My Little Pony. That's what I think's
Yeah.
probably gonna happen.
You could even be even like have your own little stick where it's like you just put it around your hat, and that way it's just like it's like an actual like POV where it's like your actual point of view instead of just being on the side, or like have two cameras going and you can get really creative with it. But yeah, no, it's 1,000%. Most people don't even do content. It's just for catching people doing stupid stuff, which I would start doing to begin with anyway. I would absolutely agree with your buddy there, but you just never know. I mean, even in mine, my first show I did, I had like 10. What did I have? I had like 15 like Surging Sparks booster bundles. I just had them on my table. I turned around for 1 second to look at a binder, and like 2 of them were gone. And then I saw the guy, so I was able to chase him back and verbally smack him around a little bit.
Wow.
I'm one, and I wonder what your opinion is on this. I'm not, and this might be because of my retail work experience. I have no problem making people feel uncomfortable when they're doing something wrong, because usually uncomfortability is the way to get people to like once eyes are on you, then they start sweating and then whatever. So when the guy stole it, I was like, I mean, I barked like a dog, and everyone just. And then, oh, I'm sorry. How do you deal with, maybe you haven't dealt with anyone trying to steal from you, but how do you deal with customer service? How do you deal with cranky people who may just be completely in the wrong, but it's a business that you're trying to run, and or people maybe that you've met in doing deals that have gone sour? How do you deal with those kind of situations and make sure you come out on top?
Okay, so there's two ways to approach this question, right? So online Tcgplayer, whatever, you don't really have too many options if somebody says their package doesn't come in or anything like that. I give everyone the benefit of doubt, right? Maybe I'm too much of a nice guy, but as soon as I see that come in, I'm thinking, even if they're trying to, scam me or steal from me, whatever, hey, $5 isn't going to sweat me. Let me just go ahead and kill them with kindness, if you will, right? Like, I'm going to give the benefit. Okay, USPS, they suck. We all know it. They lose packages legitly, right? So that's where my mind's going to go, right? So I'll go ahead and take care of the customer the best I can. Refund the order, send out replacements, try to rectify the situation I can, right? And a story on that, right? Like, you can turn those. You never know when you turn that you take that type of approach, it gets reciprocated back. I've had return customers come back, and just bought it was like some Star Wars order that got like dinged up in the mail, right? And he showed, and I don't know if I did a video. We all do videos on like packing orders. I package my stuff pretty good, and I guess it got jostled and like a corner got bent or
Sure.
something. And I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna refund that card and I'm gonna send you replacements, right? And he was just blown away by that. And he goes back and buys like $200 of these like showcase cards for Star Wars. I'm like, okay, cool, right? So you never know when you can turn something negative into a positive situation, right? And so that's the online facet. Now, in person, I have had people try to take cards from me. And to answer that, I'm much like you. A lot of people I've mentioned videos before. It's 5 years in the Marine Corps, and I'm also from
Yeah,
Los
yeah.
Angeles. So I have no problem getting loud. I'm very chill in person, I think. Uh, but I do have that fuse, and if it goes off, I can get very loud and very confrontational. And moving here to the Midwest, I've learned these this area is not they're not big on confrontation. So
Yeah.
you really rattle them when you like even raise your voice. So that being said, is you want to be nice to the customers, work with them the way you can. They may just be having a bad day, but if somebody is actually trying to get one over on you, you've got to stand up for yourself, or else they'll just be back, or they'll tell their friends, "Oh yeah, we can easily pick off some booster bundles from his table or something like that."
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say. Kill them with kindness, give them the benefit of the doubt, but if they are actually trying to get over on you, you gotta, if it's on Tcgplayer, just block them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and once you've been doing this for a little while, you kind of get a nose for, you know,
Yeah.
who is and isn't. Like, obviously online, it's kind of hard to tell, but like when you get orders that go missing and they're like just under the bubble mailing threshold, or you go back and see, oh, maybe this guy did it once before. You start getting a nose for these things. So it's and I've done the same thing. Like I'm very much that kill him with kindness kind of guy. Like I'll maybe go a little too far sometimes in making sure they're whole, in hopes that that forges a longer relationship of selling more stuff. Just lose a little bit up front to get more down the line. There's no wrong way to go about it, but usually, what's that saying? You attract more bees with honey versus vinegar. Like
Yeah.
it's part of the job. There's going to be people that are going to steal from you. You just kind of have to deal with it. Back half of this year, we got 6 more months to go. What's in store for you for the next half of the year? Are you getting in any more games? Are you ramping up the content schedule? What do you got on the horizon for the rest of the year and the years to come?
Um, the rest of the year, the big goal is to get the website going and eBay, more things that like custom lots and stuff on eBay. As far as new games coming in, this is my problem, right? Trying to do everything.
Yeah.
It Power World, I'm excited about just to see what happens, right? Like I'm in for the meme. You know what I mean? Like like Rudy's crusade against PSA, like Power World's crusade against
Yeah.
Nintendo and Pokemon. Let's see. It's fun. It'll be fun to be in that meme. And then Cataclysm Arcade. That looks really cool. So those are the games that are on the horizon. As far as content, I want to do more. I Originally I was just gonna do one a week, right? And then I'm like, I actually like it. I need to maybe just do more. So now I'm trying to really stick to the Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday shticks, and I've been pretty good on that. Sometimes I miss a Tuesday because of just how life is.
Sure.
But I'd like to do more content. It's just again time. Being two jobs, married, trying to have a social life. Yeah, so that's, I mean, as far as content and then games, and then just scale the business, see how far I can go, see what I can do to scale, make more new relationships, right? Like, I appreciate you reaching out and all the other content creators, and just it's exciting, right, to see
Oh yeah.
where I'll come in a year and a half, and excited to see where I'll be another year and a half. You know what I mean?
I was already planning on reaching out to you at some point, but I was starting to get borderline death threats if I didn't have you on sooner rather than later. So I was like,
No
okay.
way.
Then it was like, if you don't have the Cardboard Baron on Sunday morning conversation, it's like, you got it. You got it. It wasn't that intense, but it was still pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's probably the thing I've liked most about the YouTube thing is befriending people and just people from different walks of life and learning how to do different things. And I never thought it would get to the point where I'm at now. Not that I'm anything special, but it's just like anything else. If you keep at it and you've got a good personality and you got a good thing going on over there, why don't you just put your wife to work? Like, what, get her to sling some cardboard and sort through some stuff. Like,
That's my secret weapon. She loves sorting, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
and it's not like, so when we break down, she's not really into like the finance side of it. She doesn't really know it's like super valuable or whatever. So
Sure.
I'll pull out like the stuff that, like, on a big break, your mythics, rare, stuff like that. Uncommons I know are gonna sell, and then I'll go sort that, list that, and then she'll just go with the commons and uncommons for me and list them all nice, and I'm like, thanks, babe. And then especially with Pokemon, right? Like I said, I got into Pokemon because of her, because when we first started selling, she started coming to these card stores for these box breaks, and then she saw Prismatic Evolutions. Thank God she didn't try to master set that. Got a couple packs of that because it was Eevee or whatever, and then I play this shop I play Warhammer at. Said, "Oh, do you know 151?" Introduced her to that. She said, "Oh, these are the Pokemon that I never had as a kid." So we were able to master set her that for her, right? So, long story short, she likes going through the Pokemon Bowl and like sorting them by Pokemon. I'm like, no, babe, we got to do it by set. She said,
Yeah.
no, but they go together. Like, oh, babe, we got to do it by set, and then we can do, So, yeah, I do put her to work sometimes, but
Yeah.
just not a full-time employee yet.
Nah, that's good to hear. It's been a few years, but the last girlfriend I had, she had like ADHD big time. So it's like whenever she needed to sit down and focus, I was like, here, I'm going to go do something for like an hour or two so you can calm down. Here is this that you can just focus in on. And I would come back in 30 minutes and that would be done. And I was like, I love this, but then, other things were going wrong. So we had to cut that out. But, yeah, man, that was, I don't know. I love this whole business. I love this whole, it's easy to do these types of things when you already like them to begin with. Like I've been in cards, like I said, since I would argue that fifth grade would probably be. I want to say Urza's Destiny was probably 95 or 96, and when I think back to it, and it's why and this is what I'm going to ask you in a second here, is it's why I want to have a store. I've talked about it before, but I know you don't have to have a store nowadays to be successful, but peak Friday Night Magic, like back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, just nerds everywhere, anime nerds in the back. Just you go to Steak and Shake or wherever afterwards. I remember we would draft, and then all the prize packs we would get in draft, we would then take to Steak and Shake and we would just draft more. And between that and I used to play Magic really competitively, so we would always be driving to Grand Prix. We drive to DC, drive to St. Louis, drive to wherever. I wasn't the best, but like it was such a large part of my life that once I started kind of getting down, into the worst part of my life, cardboard helped kind of pull me out, because that it was like ignoring the obvious elephant in the room of what to latch onto to kind of get me going. How big of a part of cardboard has been in your life? I mean, I know you've been doing it for a while, but like, is it that ingrained in what you do, or is it, how has that helped you just kind of stay focused on things in your life in general?
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I liked it when I initially got into it back in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, initially. And then I kind of fell out of it until, like I said, about a year and a half ago, when I got back into cardboard. Well, there was a small stint right after the Marine Corps in like 2010, but even then I was just like, I don't know, this game doesn't feel the way I remember it, right? And definitely not now, but whatever. But now card games that's all I think about is cards, right? Even when I'm writing code for my main job or in a Zoom call, because corporate meetings. But anyways, I'm thinking about like, okay, dude, this combo in Pokemon I did last week was terrible. How do I improve that, right? So like, I do have a passion for actually playing the games, and that's why I'm in so many. I'm not good at any of these card games, by the way. Like, pretty good at Rickbound, but I just like the community, man. I like going out and seeing, like you said, all the different people from the different walks of life, right? And this was actually a video idea I wanted to do about like the value of TCGs outside of like money, right? And I honestly believe in today's day and age where everyone's just online and you have hustle culture, which we're guilty of ourselves here. Everyone's just trying to like eke out an existence or whatever. The LGS and card games are a way to pull you away from like all this digital nonsense. Get engaged in the community, right? Like if you turn the news on, you think the world's ending tomorrow, right? And everyone hates everyone, right? But if you just go out into your communities and engage with people, you realize you have a lot more in common with people than differences. And I honestly think TCGs can like fix 90% of the problems in the world if people can just like get together, BS about their week, blow off some steam, summon some creatures, and just have a good time, right? So I am completely engrossed in the back half of my life by cardboard, and it's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life once I'm set up.
I would agree with you, unless it's a blue mage. There was nothing worse than finishing a Friday at work, get ready to go play some Magic, sit down as someone throws down an island for the first land of the game, and I was come on, man. But there was back in the days, there were way too many toxic blue cards. Horrible stuff.
Heuristic study just needs to be removed, right?
My I don't know how playable it is now or in Commander and stuff, but easily the card I hated playing against the worst was Opposition. I hated that card so bad. Now, granted, I've got my own brand of toxic. When I played Modern a lot, my best deck I had, I was definitely a taking turns guy. It was just nothing but drawing cards and taking as many turns in a row as possible. And then I actually remember the first tournament I played in. I made a top 8. It was a mono blue version, and we exhausted the 60 minutes, but it was my active turn. But I had like 7 turns saved up. So when I ended my turn, he went to go take turn 1, and I was like, like the Compe Matumbo. And he's like, no, it's turns. That doesn't count. And I'm like, brother, I don't know what to tell you, but you're going to be sitting here for a while. And he rage quit, and I was just like, okay. I hate griefing other people, but also it's like, God, when you're on the winning side of that, sometimes it just feels good, You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
sometimes it just feels good. But you said she got you into Pokemon. Now, I would never recommend anybody opening Pokemon to make
Oh,
money.
oh.
Like Matt, that's pretty much a specific Magic, and I think you can do it with Yu-Gi-Oh. But like One Piece, whatnot, those are not really games that you can open expecting to churn out a consistent, buildable thing. Have you tried opening Pokemon, or are you? It sounds like you're wise to that pretty quickly. That is not a profitable virtue, a profitable path to go on to crack those open, especially nowadays.
So yeah, before I was using like tools like Mox or whatever, I did it all manually, right? I'd go look at like what are the cards valued in this set, right? And I'm like on Pokemon, I'm like, okay, cool. I think first set, I think Journey Together was just about to come out. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, what are the top cards? Like, what are these cards? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So if you don't get these 3 top cards, you just lost your ass on this. Yeah, so I knew very, very early on opening Pokemon for arbitrage opportunities what's going to happen. Do I open Pokemon? Absolutely. Every set that comes out, I buy an ETB for the personal collection, and the LGS here that I work with, they're very much for the community, so they offer everything first wave like $5 above MSRP. They're a markup, right? They're scalpers, right? $5 extra, or whatever.
Dirty
But we get
scalper.
yeah, we'll get one of everything, a ETB, a booster box, whatever ancillary products, and we'll crack it. And then with the wife, because it's fun. She likes it, right? She grew. I don't want to like
Yeah.
too much. She didn't have these when she grew up, so it's fun to experience with her. And then she's trying to master set every Mega Evolution block now. So I do it with the wife. I don't do it making money, right? Uh, that being said, how I make money on Pokemon is going to be the investment play, right? I haven't really talked about it too much in my content, but I've been rolling a lot of the profits off the business into Pokemon sealed, right? Like I have a couple sealed cases, SPCs of Prismatic Evolution. That's my push, right? And then yeah, uh, that's how I'm gonna make money on uh, Pokemon, right? Like I know everyone, the meme is 5 to 10 year hold, but this isn't like my first time in the market, right?
Sure.
I used to mine cryptocurrency, Ethereum, since like 2016, all the way up to like 22 when it became unmineable. I've been up through crypto bull markets and busts uh, 3 times before I got out of most of my crypto. So I have the diamond hands. I can hold on to it. I don't want to see the market bust on Pokemon, but when it does, I want to see the resurgence again and see if it's going to work out. And something tells me by another guy that has worn a funny hat and his mountains of cardboard that it does work out. So
Yeah, yeah.
I know some of those people can be divisive in the community, but even if you don't like people's personality, try to glean what they're doing, right? And if it's working for them, you don't have to like them. You can emulate it and find success. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you feel about like? Because not that I'm not doing that. I mean, I don't have a whole crazy amount, but I kind of treat my personal collection as my investment. So even though I don't have much sealed, my master sets, I've got a decent amount of stuff in there, and I kind of treat it as like the in case of emergency break axe, or break ice or whatever glass or whatever it is you're trying to break. But in 5 to 10 years, let's say because I would say that now more than ever, that you have more and more people investing and holding. Do you think there would ever be a problem with liquidity? Let's say for that 5 to 10 year hold, and everyone starts to try to dump everything at the same time, or do you think that's a something that you don't necessarily
So
need to worry about?
yeah, so liquidity is that I mean it's a very real thing, right? And it's only a problem if you need to get out of it, right? I never want to be in a position where I need to get out of it. You know what I mean? If you're forced to sell, that's probably the least liquidity is probably the least of your worry. You probably effed up somewhere else pretty big, and you don't want to be in that position. So my goal, right? Obviously, Black Swan events, things outside of your control will force me to maybe have to liquidate and get some money. But I'm trying my best to make good decisions, calculated decisions, so I'm not going to be in that situation where I have to sell some prismatic evolutions, and then you can just ride it out into the next big craziness. Pokemon 40th, and if we're still alive, then 50th anniversary, because it's this IP's not going anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think I have I don't want to say a gripe, that sounds too much, but I feel like anniversary sets that aren't on like, important years, like 20, 30, like I know it's a company and they're doing products and stuff, but I feel like those are just odd numbers. Like 25, 50, those seem like more important than a 30th. Like, who cares about 30th anniversary?
Yeah.
Not only that, but what is your opinion on that set? Because I don't think that a lot of the newer cards that are in there really look that great.
I mean, I'm not like super emotionally attached to Pokemon. Right?
Okay.
I did have a chase card where I had to pull, and it was the Destined Rivals Mewtwo, because it means something to me, because when me and my wife first started dating, whatever, she was playing Pokemon Go, and she would carry me around, got me to get the app, and we'd go do raids with people standing around these stops back when you needed like 30 people to do these things. And I remember the first one we did, I was like, oh man, that looks cool. It looks like a pissed off cat. And it was Mewtwo, right? So I saw that, and like, that's my one Pokemon I love, right? That one card. But I don't see the excitement. Even like Ascended Heroes, people, oh, look at this Gengar, this Pikachu. I'm like, yeah, that's not a $5,000 card. Like,
I will.
I don't see it,
dude. Pikachu, I do not understand. There's cards like that. Like, I'm trying to think of some of the SIRs from like the beginning of Scarlet and Violet. I think it was like Koraidon and Rhydon, where it looks like Pikachu isn't even part of the art. It looks like it's just like a sticker that's like placed on top of like the background. I don't know. I don't get why that card. I mean, the Surging Sparks Pikachu is way better than that. I don't know. It's people. I don't know. People like what they like, I guess.
And maybe, and that was like Surging Sparks. I think that was the set that was out when we got in. I maybe you can explain to me why people hate that set. When I look at the cards in there and the Pikachu on there, like, I thought that was a cool. Like, what made that different than any other set?
Pikachu. Like the whole thing about Scarlet and Violet people didn't like was the Terra hats, like all the little gem hat, like they all thought that was stupid, or most people didn't like that. But like you get Pikachu flashing his butt on the screen. It's like that's all. It's a recipe for winning success. I don't know. I appreciate you, man. I know it's been about an hour, so I don't want to keep you too much longer. Usually before I give the sign off and let you kind of plug all your stuff again, I always give the guest an opportunity. Was there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about? Did you have any questions that you wanted to throw my way, or?
When are we gonna get the hot tub stream going?
Hey, I'll check with my agent. We'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, have your guys call my guys. All right?
We had a stream where we had a request for a hot tub time machine podcast. So St. Louis might be a little far away to make that happen. But hey, we could always just stream each other sitting in a bathtub or something. Who knows? If that's something you want to see, make sure you let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, we'll probably we'll figure something else out. But Jay, I appreciate the time, man. Thank you for getting up as early as you did. I would be lying if I forgot that you were in Central Standard Time, so I felt kind of guilty when you had to get up at 8:30. But since you were in the Marines, I'm sure you're used to getting up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and having water poured on your face. So, it is what it is. But before we go, if you want to remind people one last time where to find you on your social and selling platforms, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I got cardboardbaron.com that'll be coming up, and then TheCardboardBaron on YouTube. I appreciate coming on your podcast, and hopefully I can be the second repeat one or something, get behind Phantom or something. But yeah, no, it's been a blast talking, meeting all your viewers in your Discord, and interacting in your comment section. So I really appreciate it, and forward to the future with you.
Hell yeah, man. Well, appreciate it very much again. That was Sunday Morning Conversation. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.